Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Sam and Max Hit the Road. This game is somewhat true to its name in the fact that we are finding specific little things in an area and then it's opening up a new area. So we had opened the world of fish up and now that pointed us to the big ball of yarn. We started with just having the cactus, not cactus circus, and a 3 Stuckey's hamburger gas station joints. Although weirdly they're depicted as hamburgers, and then we don't actually see any hamburgers at all. This is certainly something that's probably fairly antiquated these days. It is possible that you still would go on cross-country driving expeditions, but you certainly wouldn't stop at a big ball of twine or anything like that. These kinds of tourist traps have long since been replaced with more interesting things such as having the internet on your cell phone or just trying to get where you want to go. And if you are going to go to a tourist trap, there is probably a better choice than something just so obscure. I would also argue that there's probably been not enough by any means, but a decent amount of funding of just like local museums and flower gardens and zoos and things like that would make a lot more sense than going to something that's the world's largest ball of twine. That feels very gimmicky. Let's see what we can look at here.
Yep, it's still our car.
Notice how we are very zoomed out in this scene. They're trying to play with scale. So it's a giant ball of twine in the background. And I imagine the only thing that's going to make sense is that this game will at some point explain why all of these areas are available.
How long do you suppose it took them to wind this immense ball of twine?
Like,
more importantly, how did they get it to stop rolling once it was all wound?
yeah, I imagine each of these areas we're going to revisit at some point, and that's going to play some big role. Let's see, we have a tram, and then a museum, and a museum, and I assume the idea is to check all of this out, and this will unlock a new area. There's like 1 or 2 games that have come out relatively recently or been announced relatively recently. Here we can see the fish that brought us here falling from the sky, or the fish bones and fish heads. And this guy just looks like a head because we're blocking the rest of his body. But yeah, there's been a couple of games that are around the idea of going on a long haul driving trip, but I think that the part of the problem there certainly is that it's really not fun to ride in a car. It just isn't. You just want to get to where you can go, and if you can fly,
There's something you don't see every
then
day.
you would fly.
What the hell are you talking about, Sam? We dump our fish heads out the window all the time.
The delays between
Yeah, but
texts
these are halibut.
have not been as bad as I thought, but there definitely still are some points where it does add some delay.
Words like big and large only begin to describe this thing.
I think stupid and inane would be useful additions.
Not to mention grotesque.
So we've got a
He looks
guy,
like my 8th grade English teacher, but with more warmth.
and then we've got like a model.
It's a 1/200,000 scale model of the actual ball of twine.
And it's only 1/200,000 as stupid as the actual ball of twine.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the game. It's like, this is a really dumb thing.
This is a shaving from the first foot of the ball of twine.
I didn't know it was old enough to shave.
But,
Fun
you know,
facts about
the
the world's largest ball of twine. If laid out from end to end, the ball would stretch from here to the far side of Jupiter. Also, scientists theorize that by 2053, the sheer weight of the ball will push the Earth out of its orbit,
Yeah,
propelling our planet
that would
on a
never
collision
happen.
course with the sun.
Good thing my life expectancy is only 6 years.
Way to take the short view, little buddy.
That violates the conservation of the mass. If there was enough mass on the planet Earth to put it out of orbit, there already would have been enough mass to do it. The only thing we could possibly do, I think, is make the Earth lighter in any realistic measurements. Like, asteroids certainly would add a little bit of mass, but if we evaporated the oceans, for instance, and turned the atmosphere so that it thinned out into space further and further, that might reduce the mass of the Earth, but it probably still wouldn't affect anything. And see, in a Telltale game, reading this and saying that this would reach to the far side of Jupiter would probably be some dumb foreshadowing for an ending you could never expect. And for Sam & Max games, I'm willing to make the exception that I probably do want ridiculous endings and outcomes and twists. Perhaps not just ridiculous endings, but ridiculous twists in the middle of the game. It would be alright if it subverted my expectations in very specific ways, such as the game breadcrumbed that I needed to talk to, like this character over here, and then when I talk to him, he just falls over and has a heart attack, and then something falls out of his pocket, and that was the thing that I was going to talk to him about anyways. As long as it keeps you on the path and doesn't feel like they're just screwing with you, then it's fine. It would be a very different conversation, certainly, if I talk to this character on the stool and he falls over and has a heart attack and then nothing happens and that was just a gag for gag's sake. Or if we talk to the character and it ends the game right then and there because he goes, you found me, I'm the big bad guy of this whatever this is. We don't even really know what's going on yet.
Do you work here?
There's a lot of wandering around here.
So how can I help you?
Giving a guy a lisp is kind of a whistly lisp is kind of a choice.
You haven't seen an 8-foot-tall woodland creature answering to the name of Bruno around here, have you?
Are you talking about Bruno the Bigfoot?
Yeah.
He and a bunch of other Bigfoots helped build the ball of twine back in '56. Why, the stories I could tell.
No!
I've heard enough stories today. Have you seen Bruno recently?
I haven't seen Bruno in 30 or so years. Is he in trouble?
That depends on your definition.
So
I like to
apparently
use the one that involves spiny
he made the ball of twine, then got
Is
frozen.
there anything else I can help you with?
Interesting. It is definitely a weird game to just be looking for a Bigfoot, but if you compare that to so many horror games where you're wandering around either avoiding or looking for ghosts, it's not that odd. And certainly there aren't too many investigative games where you're investigating the disappearance of creatures or cryptids. There probably should be more.
What's with all the fish guts flying past the window?
That would
Those
have
are
made
leftovers from our last fish delivery.
a
Our
slightly
rotating restaurant
more
has
interesting
fresh fish flown
tale
every day
for
from
the
world of
game
fish in
control,
Louisville, Missouri.
where you enter this facility simply because you're looking for your brother, and then you finally find your brother, and it doesn't really even change the story much. You still wander around the control building
Who's that?
for hours
The
if
country
you want
western
to.
star gone berserk with power.
I wouldn't know him if I saw him. I don't get out much.
Yep. Control was I found a very disappointing game in its story because it was just like paper thin story to give you a reason to go to another room to fight the same enemies over and over again.
This ball isn't really made from a continuous piece of twine, is it?
Yep, it's the longest piece of twine in the world by 92 yards.
Interesting. So there's something that's only slightly smaller.
Stop staring at me.
I can't help it.
It's places like this that make me wish I were Canadian.
Well, they've got one of these too, but half of it's French.
That'll be all for now.
So it seems like you just get 4 legitimate
I
conversations
haven't seen so much twine since that night
and
in
then
Tokyo in
4
'67.
joke conversations. And you have to click one of the 4 joke conversations often to trigger the legitimate conversations. Yeah, this is definitely an experiment on how can you do perspective, and even with high quality scaling up here, you're seeing a decent amount of pixelation when it gets small and just lack of detail.
Too late.
Alright, so we'll just have to wait here, and that's gonna be nothing. The fact that they animate the characters walking around is nice, but every time they walk, it is kind of a depiction of
Take a leg, Max.
of just where the animation is gonna get a little bit jaggy on the edges. You're not gonna have smooth lines. It's way easier to have smooth lines when you are when you have a stationary image. Alright.
That's one long loose end.
Too bad we can't reach it from this side of the deck. You always need a large piece of string in games like this.
And breaking the 4th wall and saying it's a game. Yeah, but when I try to think about how the Telltale game would have been at this point, we would have been having different people brainwashed and hypnotized, and the soda poppers would have been a whole thing by now, and we may actually have been into episode 2 of season 1. It definitely was a game that also just
I can't reach that door from here.
went really, really far. Well, let's see. Do we have anything we can
It's my
use?
little buddy, ready for action.
It's really weird that you can move all of this.
I can't use these things together.
Yeah, if there's anything we can do here, it would be use Max with these items.
I can't use these things together.
Alright, well, what are we supposed to do here? We have this and this.
I can't use these things together.
And we have a cup, which we have no idea what that's for.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together.
Ah, you can walk inside. See, and this is like a consistent problem we keep saying, is that there's just areas that aren't obvious
Seafood.
as far as you can wear, as far as where you can walk.
Fresh fish.
We have a wire.
It's a conveniently located pair of mounted binoculars.
We have a rotating thing. Wow. I have no excuse for this, but this is kind of making me motion sick. We've got to stop it rotating, I think, before we can see something. And so I guess I have to hit E or Q. Let's see. Left, right. QWERT. Escape.
I'm sure this is somehow useful, but I'll be damned if I know how.
That's weird that escape works there and doesn't work in the minigame.
These exposed wires look like they're part of the restaurant control mechanism.
They look like overcooked pasta to me, Sam.
And I think normally a game would say, well, don't eat them, but I think there's a very good possibility that they want us to eat them. They want us to tell Max to eat them. This guy is wearing a psychic hat and doing something there.
He looks safe enough.
He's picking up a wrench and then doing some kind of magic to bend the wrench. And when he puts his arms up, they're all sweaty.
What you doing?
Using my telekinetic powers to bend my tools.
Why?
To help me fix the rotating mechanism on this diner.
Well, that makes sense.
You definitely didn't have any of that in the Telltale game.
Should I even bother asking you about Conroy Bumpus?
No.
See, and I feel like this probably means that really, really hardcore fans of the Sam and Max series were probably very disappointed with the Telltale games. Although I'm not sure how many hardcore fans there really were.
Bruno the Bigfoot.
Sam, he's speaking in tongues.
I feel like this guy having a telekinesis hat and overalls and being a workman is kind of like the combination of two different things, which then if you throw in the cussing, you've got one thing too many.
Lots of things, like scratching those hard-to-reach places.
And see, I feel like there might be a point in this game where we turn off the beeping.
Let me make one for you. It's all yours.
Thanks.
Okay. So now we have a bent.
Hey, lay off the swearing. We're trying to appeal to kids.
Get bent.
Percent sign, ampersand, dollar sign.
And colon, semicolon, too.
What are you doing?
Swearing in longhand, asterisk mouth. Well, bye.
Alright, well, let's try this and see what happens.
I can't use these things together.
Nope, can't use those things together. So, let's see what happens if we just stick him on the wires.
I can't use these things together.
Nothing. So it definitely feels like something here should work together.
I can't use these things together.
Let's see if we can maybe try this.
I can't use these things together.
We don't want to get into a situation where it's like desperate attempts.
I can't use these things together.
So it seems like we just straight up need wire. Is there possibly anything else to interact with? Anything to pick up? Maybe we'll just see if we can pick up the wires. Okay, so we've now got wires. Do we put them to this? Apparently we do.
Now I can control the speed and direction of the diner via these mounted binoculars.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yep, very cartoony.
Maybe not.
Very, very cartoony. I can see why this would have gotten a cartoon, and I can also certainly see why 7 Max wouldn't have actually succeeded. Alright. So now I can control the speed and the direction, it says. Ow. Like, nothing seems to be really slowing down. It's not going to be like a mouse wheel thing. It's not these little pixels. So, unless this is QWERTY. Yeah, it definitely does not feel like anything here is controlling any of this. Like, I don't feel like right-clicking in a specific spot makes any sense either.
I'm sure this is somehow useful, but I'll be damned if I know how.
Yeah, unless I'm supposed to use something else with it. I don't know. Did we get anything here in this room? Yes, we did. So maybe we were supposed to just get that one item and then leave.
I've got to use this elevator.
And certainly it's not fun to run into a section where they just say you have to use something. And if there was anything different, it would be this.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things.
So we need to go back and think, is there something that we specifically know that uses a wrench? And I don't really have an answer that makes me know for certain that that's the case. Man, this is slow too. This is one of those points where later point and click adventure games would have definitely let you double clicked, but not this one. Double clicking is not getting you anywhere. Suppose it might as well. Might as well try the Tunnel of Love again.
Let's ride the TOL again.
If you insist.
Alright, so we want to go ahead and use this.
It's a nifty flashlight equipped with a black light.
Alright, this. And then so we see buttons here.
I can't pick that up from here. I can't use that. I can't use that from here.
All right, let's see.
Perfectly good.
See if we can use this. Yeah, and kind of like a considerable slowdown here. as if there's something you're supposed to find. I think I may have to just use a walkthrough.
I'm beginning to get frustrated.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's something there.
because this is a rather linear experience. Like, you can definitely see that where there is, if you miss the one thing that you need to know, you'll
I can't use
never be able to figure it out, or you'll never be able to move forward. So I'm just gonna refer back to the walkthrough here. Let's see, blah blah blah. Box of sweets on the shelf. We apparently missed that. Let's see what else we missed. I bet there's kinds of things all over the place. Yep, there's another thing I didn't pick up. Okay. Okay. So, like, 3 different things I've missed. And just totally messed up. There's a thing here. And this is one of those games where you are going to just run into that problem of just the same having to potentially wander around because you're missing an item. So I don't know what specifically I'm actually supposed to use the magnifying lens for, but we do know the Tunnel of Love. I think this is another case where also I should have been locked into the circus area so that the game didn't give you this opportunity to wander around when you really can't wander around. Seriously, just go over this way. Yeah, walk over there. And this is just another scenario where we're supposed to have Max attack the fuse box. And that feels like something you would have probably just done better if you had simply forced your way into that. Alright, so there's a fuse box. And so now we need to use Max on the fuse box. I can't see it though. So you put that there, and then how do you get to him?
That's probably a good idea. I should have tried it sooner.
Just fiddling with the system is such a hassle.
I think this ride is a wild goose chase.
It's a swine, Sam. Besides, I think we just need to stop the ride somehow.
See, it is feeding you information and giving you hints on the 4th or 5th time.
Let's ride the TOL
but
again.
If you insist.
Yeah. Perhaps on older computers this would have run a little bit slower and given me some more time, but that really isn't the solution that I would want to hear, is that I'm failing here because I'm just not moving fast enough, or because the computer's moving faster. Right? So we see that, and then we need to use Max.
That's probably a good idea. 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 I should have tried it soon. That's probably a good idea. I should have tried it sooner.
I don't see why they're saying sooner.
A good idea. I should have tried it sooner.
Like, how fast does one have to be on this? This seems ridiculous. Let me just once you start to ride, use the flashlight to light up the cave and search for the fuse box. Once you find it, use Max with the fuse box. And that must be really, really fast.
About to give up.
Lighten up, Sam.
And at this point, the game should just...
Let's ride the TOL again.
If you insist.
It should just give us the answer. No, it's not like I'm changing the screen or any either. So I can go as far as the screen lets me here. And then we need to quickly have him attack.
Maybe I should try it when I'm a little closer to the fuse box.
So there's a very limited time frame in there. And the game kind of stops. You dunk your own friend. Finally. That's super annoying. You know, it does occur to me that there is this this point-and-click adventure game that came out many years after this called Edna and Harvey. There's like 2 of them, where it's a crazy girl with her stuffed bunny, and the stuffed bunny is kind of crazy, but so is Edna, clearly, because the stuffed bunny is just a reflection of her own insanity. It seems like that probably was slightly visually inspired by this game, although I would say there's kind of a problem with Edna and Harvey, the one game I did play, in that you spend the entire time in the game breaking out of a mental asylum just to realize what was obvious from the beginning is that you actually belonged in the mental asylum, and it's hard to kind of side with a crazy person who literally is crazy. And I don't know how you fix something like that, nor did I feel like the comedy was particularly great. Inherently, all of the games from the creator of that published that game are in the same vein.
Get off of there,
because they fail to have happy endings, and they're just not very good.
I'll never shave again.
You never did.
See, I have no idea why that just triggered. I didn't know on the way through.
Today's leaders react more calmly to negative opinion polls.
Like, that's really, really weird. Like, I was just looking at the thing.
No, really, I can't pick that up. Are you dense? I can't pick that up. I can't pick that up.
Well, I guess we're going this way. Through this secret door, and we've got a guy back here. Another weirdo. Perhaps too many weirdos in the Sam and Max universe. We've got all these like mannequins hanging around. Let's see what we can look at.
It's Max.
Not Max. That's not what I meant to look at. Yep. And inherently having Max wander around puts him always in the wrong place, whereas it would have been nicer if he found a kind of boring corner, and they just always picked a boring corner for him to stand in.
This looks like the Tunnel of Love reset switch.
Just like at the bowling alley.
And we've just got this guy. Yeah, you have a fully animated area here, and there's two things that you can click on.
Couch Spudus in his native habitat.
So let's talk to this guy, I guess.
Who are you?
I'm Doug, the Mole Man. Who are you?
We see mole mans in the later Telltale games.
And we like long walks
And
along the beach.
They are kind
What
of
do you
a
want from me?
callback. I think this probably implies a lot of the problem with the Telltale games in particular is that they were callbacks to the original games, where a lot of people probably wouldn't have been able to play the original games when it came out,
Stop
or
it, Sam.
wouldn't
You're gonna
have.
tell us a story. I first met Bruno 25 years ago in Saigon.
Full fade out. Several hours later.
And then there was a time we all had our taxes done by a platypus. And shut up, for God's sake, just shut up.
Look, we just want to know where Bruno is now.
I like the idea that the characters just don't want to hear a story.
Maybe you should talk to my uncle.
Your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle Shavul. He's really into Bigfoots. When I was a kid, he used to tell me stories about giant Bigfoot parties, where all the Bigfoots of the world would get together and dance Bigfoot dances, and
That's great, kid. Where can we find your uncle?
I don't know. He disappeared a short time after he helped build the largest ball of twine on Earth.
Interesting. So we're
I
getting
think I
pushed
mean we
back.
Openly. Look, you two seem trustworthy.
Oh, we are.
Yes, you can trust us as far as we can throw you. So if you bring me some pecan-flavored candy, I'll give you my key to Trixie's trailer. I'll also tell you a big secret about how Bruno escaped.
Why not tell us now?
Because I'm hungry.
So we get a goal, at least.
Are you sure there's nothing more you can tell us about
And
Bruno?
we'll click on this again.
I've told you all that I know. You should really talk to my uncle, Shavul. Oh, yeah. I'll also give you my key to Trixie's trailer for some pecan-flavored candy.
What the heck are you, anyway?
I'm a mole man. Figure it out.
I think he's a mole man, Sam.
You know, watching too much TV is super bad for the eyes.
Why do all you squishy, poorly focused blobs say that?
Never mind. I think that's all for now.
Alright,
Fine.
well,
You can find your own way out.
let's see what happens when we interact with the Switch and reset it.
There. That should get things running again.
Did we really want things to run again? I guess the answer is yes, because that just walked us out of that area. And inherently, the problem now is that I know where the candy is, because I saw the walkthrough. I just didn't buy any of it, because it was a little bit weird. So we've got to go to one of these snuggies. And up here's candy. Plain as day, but pretty well hidden.
It's a box of pecan-flavored candies.
And talk to this guy and
I
buy
don't
it.
think he'd want that.
It's kind of funny that they don't steal
You in charge
anything.
here?
Because that feels like in the later games,
For another 6 years before I
the
could run this place.
only reason they don't steal items is because they're always at Bosco's, and Bosco's has like really good security.
I'd like to buy this.
Do you have any money?
Of course I do. Here.
And you can certainly see how
Will that
Bosco
be all for you today?
replaced these
That'll be all.
gas stations.
Anything else?
What's the deal with
What
this?
can you tell me about this?
It's hours of fun at home or on the road. Anything else?
Just keep
Do you
on
know anything
clicking
about
on anything.
Bigfoots?
Only what I read in the Weekly International Evening Enquirer Star. Anything else?
Does that spell
Nothing.
weenus?
You have no idea how often I hear that.
Interesting. So, like, almost certainly there's other things to buy and other things I've missed. So it's worth it to at least go to this one and see what's on the shelf. Where the candy would have been. Nothing. So apparently maybe once you get candy in one place, that's it. I'm hoping if we go back to the circus, we can go into the Tunnel of Love without having to do the whole trick again. And then we can just automatically give the candy to the mole man and move on with the story.
You insist?
Because if we have to do the whole thing all over again, then that is potentially going to be very annoying. Okay, thank goodness they just skipped that. Let's give him the candy.
Here, I thought you might like some candy.
Thanks.
The reset
God's
switch
my
is
favorite.
obviously
Hey,
just
you're all right.
added
Take
as
this
a
tea as a token of my
explanation that when you really didn't need an explanation. So he gives you a crowbar.
Wow, this is some key.
Okay, Sam, let's get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
Wait, I've got a great story you should hear. Ah.
Yeah, but even the game wants you to
Kid,
keep
my
it,
partner's got a low tolerance for
wants
long
you to move
stories.
forward.
Well, it all started the day before today. I remember it like it was yesterday. It's not widely known.
This is the
but
first
Chuck
time
Sid
we've seen
fallen in
either
love
one of
with
these
Rydo.
characters in life.
Every night, she'd sneak into the freak show tent and read to him what she imagined to be his favorite bedtime stories. She seemed as happy as a self-mutilated parody of nature could be.
Yeah, those necklace things, there's like a couple tribes that do that. And
she could
it's
never truly be happy until her beloved
definitely
Rydo was
not
free.
stretching your neck and not helping you. It's not a healthy thing to
Finally,
do.
she decided to do something about Bruno's predicament. She begged Flambe, the fire breather, to free the Bigfoot from his icy cage. Flambe took pity on poor Trixie and liberated Bruno. And the happy couple haven't been seen since. Hell of a story, ain't it?
But yeah, does that inherently just end the game though? Because if our goal was to investigate what's going on, did we not just find the answer? Like, we now have to continue to do investigations just to find a reason to continue to investigate. So
Hey,
we'll
Max,
open
come here.
this.
What? Watch this. Well, this is undignified.
Nice.
Oh boy.
You have another scene. Let's see what we can see up here.
Ooh, they're genuine Scrantonese potions of fertility.
Let's take them.
I don't think we should risk being any more fertile than we already are, Max.
There's a thought too. You could certainly create a new generation of Sam and Max characters. That could be a running gag, is how in the world would Sam and Max ever have children? And certainly
It's a hope chest.
I hope it's filled with more gold than my poor eyes can stand.
there's an anime called Inuyasha that went on for many years, and recently they've made a sequel to it, which are the children of the main characters in Inuyasha. And I'm not probably pronouncing that right at the moment. There certainly is a lot of freshness that comes with the idea of a new generation, where you don't really get that with something like, Pokemon is kind of a great example. You're still getting Ash Ketchum as the main character, regardless of how many other side characters are being added. And there's very old cartoons that would have been out around the time this game came out, definitely were not in a position where they ever changed anything or evolved any of the characters. Alright, so we see a calendar.
Scorecard from the Gator Golf Emporium in Roomy Eyes, Florida.
Well, that's gonna unlock a new place. And that's a little too green. And
Hey,
the idea that
costume in here.
any possible hint would lend you to driving across the country is kind of crazy.
It's a big closet.
I suppose part of the idea here would be the celebration of Americana and America, and if you were going to do that, then you almost need to go a little bit wilder and like have a Canadian adventure, have a Mexican adventure with these characters, have a Chinese adventure, an Asian adventure.
This is a completely unusable thingamabob.
You can't jump.
It's Max.
See, in this case, Max has moved into the one place where you don't really need to click. I wanna look here at this outfit.
Stilt Walker's costume.
Stilt Walker's costume.
I don't think this is the time or place. I don't think this is... It's a scorecard from the Gator Golf Emporium in Roomy Eyes, Florida.
We have 2.5 more rows. We really can't be that far from the end of the game. But also, we've kind of done nothing. And that's pretty crazy. When you compare this to something like Day of the Tentacle, where you're given this whole time is messed up scenario and you have to save all of history before the evil tentacle takes over the world, like you definitely know what you're doing. You definitely have linear experiences. You're having to jump around into 3 different timelines to solve puzzles. That concept is certainly not yet just too green. And yeah, this color palette's decent, but not varied enough that's easy enough to see. Seems like we get different audio for almost every area. Interesting. I don't know why this guy's
It's about time
here.
they close this senseless, cruel, politically incorrect attraction.
It was my favorite.
Alright, so we've got something in the trash can.
What is it?
It looks like a couple of snakes.
Everything looks like a couple of snakes to you.
This seems like all the putt-putt is on the swamp. So we've got now a grabber, which would help us get that piece of twine. And we've got
He's
this guy.
repulsive, but I can't take my eyes off of him.
And he's spitting, which I bet that's what the cup is for, is because he's chewing tobacco, which honestly I don't know how many kids would have even, or how many people really are familiar with chewing tobacco these days.
I don't think he'd want that.
I think he'd want it.
I don't think he'd want that.
Let's see. Let's talk to him, I guess.
Not that I care, but what made you think of putting alligators and golf together?
I didn't. Fact is, this place used to be a miniature golf course. Then, back in '89, the swamp flooded the whole shooting match, windmills and all. Next thing I knew, I had a half-submerged miniature golf course crawling with 10-foot-long gators.
I hate when that happens.
Tell me about it. So I turned the golf course into a driving range.
And in a funny way, they kind of make him more of a Texas stereotype than a Florida stereotype, at least by modern standards.
That used to be my golf ball retriever. One of the gators bit the end clean off it. Until I get my new one, I have to get the golf balls out of the water manually.
He's got like bandages all over his hands.
Take a look.
So what kind of handicap does your average Bigfoot have?
Bigfoot? Don't get me started about Bigfoots. I used to have a Bigfoot. He was my star attraction.
I'm beginning to sense a theme here.
I kept him fed and sheltered. And how does he repay me?
In 10s and 20s?
No, he ran away.
Did he have help?
So I imagine
Well, someone must have given him
the
that
plan.
acetylene torch to cut through his protective ankle wear.
I imagine the plan was to make Sam and Max games
Protective
that
ankle
each
wear.
had a MacGuffin, and this one would have been a Bigfoot, and then the next one may have been something different. Although you get fairly weird fairly
What
fast.
do you think
Like
of Conroy bumping?
if they're looking for Mothman and Jersey Devils,
I've named all my
that's
pets after him.
that's
I put
fine,
beer
but
cans
then you
right
start to
in
run
the
out of
front.
things
I
pretty
live with
quickly,
the day when I
particularly if you
became
stay
worse.
to America. Now, if you're going to go look for Loch Ness
Why do you
Monster or
No
um,
reason.
maybe the Krampus, something like that, that could, you could go pretty far that direction.
This must be a popular
Honestly, I
teen
think you
hangout.
probably would only want to do 3 or 4
We had
games
that problem with the Jenkins
and
kid. Court made me destroy
before
my
you
best
change
gator over
things
that.
up and stop chasing after
Well,
cryptids.
what can I do for you?
And inherently, like, all of these games, while they were very well received, I'm not sure they were financially successful enough back in the days when very few people even had
I've got
computers.
an inexplicable
So,
urge to buy some suitcases.
Don't even
It's
joke about it.
definitely not a case of a where you
Don't
can
go anywhere.
could have potentially
Where would I go?
annualized the Sam and Max series. Telltale tried to do that with their 3 seasons, and even in that, they, I don't think, fully succeeded. Alright. I'm gonna give it one more chance to try and use this. See, he's like standing right where I'd want it to be.
I don't think he'd want that.
Alright, well, what else do we have that we can look at?
Max, let's go.
I think part of the problem with the
That's where
Telltale
the driving
games
range is.
was that you are not doing something different each season or each episode. It just kind of built on itself. So had you missed out on season 1 of the Telltale games, there's no argument to play season 2 or season 3. And certainly that would have hurt your sales.
It's those two, what was that word, Sam?
Where I think the
Misanthropes?
sequel to this game
Yeah, misanthropes.
is
What are you, anyway? The president of the hair club for short people?
I think this is Sam and Max Hit the Road, and I think there was one sequel after this. I want to call Save the World, but I don't think that's the actual name.
Then I'll bet his scalp itches from that bad rug. Maybe you should watch yourself, little.
But it
people.
definitely
Yeah, well, I got
stands
one
out
here in my
as
fuzzy little
a game
butt,
you could
and you
play
on that hollow country
without
medicine.
playing Hit the Road first.
Okay, I've had enough. Nobody makes fun of my hair.
This is weird. We have barely just met this guy, these characters, and then we get into a fight, and I'm just trying to not even really paying attention here.
Go, boss.
There you have our cartoony animation.
What a jerk. It's a nice 5-iron, though.
I'm scared, Sam.
So it looks like we're gonna have to play a mini game, possibly, to get away from all these alligators.
I hate country music.
So it sets those up, those guys as the bad guys,
Bucket of golf balls.
but it's really Sam and Max's own fault for starting a fight, as far as I could tell. Wasn't really paying attention enough. Alright. Let's take a swing. That just goes off in a very leftmost direction. Okay. So I think what we want to do is the first thing to do would be to probably hit this. See, we'll see what happens when we place a flag and swing.
Hey, I'm scared, Sam.
Alright, so we've got to figure out how to get all of the alligators to line up, I think. And there's a question as to what makes the alligators line up and what doesn't. So let's see what happens when we hit a ball this way. This is once again an incredibly slow minigame.
I hate country music.
So, yeah, you knock them out, sure, but what's the point of that? So just a lot of things are reacting, but not reacting the way you'd expect, or not doing anything helpful. And when you splash the water, seemingly does nothing. Like, yeah, there's all kinds of things that react. Some of these definitely feel like references to Monkey Island. But what are we supposed to be doing here? Let's see what happens if we break the glass. That must be the answer. Is to hit the glass and break it. See, do we have any items that would make any sense?
Hey!
Just hit the tail. See, it almost seems like the solution here would just be to do everything, but that doesn't seem right either. Like the only thing I haven't hit is the skull. So, like, unless I'm supposed to hit the hat of this character, it wouldn't make a lot of sense that we're supposed to avoid... we're supposed to split up and I'm supposed to just leave him here. I don't think would be any solution around that. Okay. So if we just hit the water, far off into the water.
Get me the hell out of here!
Let's see. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of items. Can I just walk away? Seriously? We're just gonna allow ourselves to potentially leave? Interesting. Interesting, because you really wouldn't have expected that to have been possible. And if they were going to do something like that, they might as well have just split us up a lot earlier. Because now everything runs a little bit smoother. And I think I'm just going to have to look at the walkthrough. Some more and see if we can figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Let's see if we can do this.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together.
Let's see. Can we combine this with this?
I can't use these things.
No. So I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna look through the walkthrough. At some point I was supposed to get a jar. Interesting. So they don't have a jar I could get. Interesting. We're missing something here. Okay. Well, I see where I've missed some things once again. And that's the problem here, is that there is this constant issue where you're gonna have to just wander around unless you have a walkthrough right in front of you, and the walkthrough that I'm looking at is literally just telling you what to do. It's not explaining why you're doing something, so it's very obscure, and it's like, okay, it says use this with that, and I'm like, okay, well, that makes some sense. So apparently I was supposed to pick up a bucket of fish at some point, and I didn't. And let's see if we can. Then also it said we're supposed to use this on something.
I can't use these things together.
No, I bet I'm supposed to use this on the mechanical thing over here to make the fish swim upstream. I don't know why.
That did the trick.
I don't know why we're pushing this, but
It's kind of wobbly in here.
So we're gonna get inside the fish later. But we have to get Sam, and to do that we have to save Sam first. So we're gonna go fairly late here. We're already 5 minutes over. And it seems in about every hour I'm finding one mini game at most. Yeah, this definitely feels like a mid-section of the game where you could get very lost and get really frustrated. Because if you did not have this bucket of fish, then you wouldn't know that that's what you needed to swap with the golf balls.
Nice alligators. Do you like roaches?
Now we'll go ahead and target a middle path and swing with the fish. We'll see what that does. See, this is fairly grotesque. Okay. Well, we'll have to figure out where we really want the alligators in the long run. It seems like they move either to a left or a right side. They don't potentially stay in the middle. Or it may be that we need to just keep them all distracted in the middle. And then there's things blocking each sides. So it's just freeing.
I'm scared, Sam.
See, I thought we were going to make a path. But I'm not sure we're really making a path here. If we are, we're just not really thinking about it. Yeah, that feels like a path. See what happens when we hit him with the fish and sink the beast. Probably the same thing as we had already seen.
Hey! Get me the hell out of here!
So I guess we're just moving these alligators a little bit. And a little bit lower. Of course, the real question is, how much do we have to really line up here? Do we line up a little, or do we line up a lot? And it does make more sense that Sam would potentially hop on the backs of these alligators instead of just trying to swim and avoid them. Avoidance does not seem like a solution you'd really want in a game like this with these characters. But this could be quite a while, too.
Get me the hell out of here!
You gotta be fairly careful here to try and figure out how much alignment really needs to happen. And this is where...
Hey, you've made a path across the driving range.
Yeah, I was having to check the walkthrough just to see if that was what needed to happen. You just stand on them with no fear whatsoever.
Geez, that certainly took long enough.
Shut up, Max. I hate that game.
Is that because you're a lousy golfer?
You're an irritable bunny today, aren't you?
Yeah, well, why don't you try sitting in this smelly booth while I beat the hell out of helpless fish?
Maybe I should just leave you there.
This doesn't make a lot of sense to have the two characters fighting with each other.
You suck, Sam.
Like they probably should always be depicted as liking each other and not really liking anybody else. Alright, so we are here. And we need something. Is it this?
I don't think he'd want that. I can't use these things together.
Are we supposed to
It's a rasp.
give the rasp to...
I can't use these things together. I don't think he'd want that.
Are we supposed to use the crowbar? Do we even have the crowbar anymore? No, we used it.
I don't think he'd want that. I can't use these things together. I can't pick that up. It's a target.
See, this is crazy because I now just kind of need to go right back to the walkthrough because, like, I'm not really willing to give this the amount of time that it probably would take. Let's see. Fishbowl lens.
I can't use these things together. I don't think he'd want. I can't use these things together.
We could talk
Are
to
you as
him,
confused as I am?
More so.
and we'll probably get nothing from this.
Want to do some painting, Max?
You know us lagomorphs are colorblind, Sam.
That's weird. So am I.
Interesting that there's so many lines of dialogue you can have.
What do you think we should do with these paper dolls?
I say we go down to the scummy side of town and give a bunch of hoods some paper cuts.
So, yeah.
Well, that's all.
We may go through all those dialogues, we may not.
No, really. I can't pick that up.
So you're supposed to just click the use button, and then you climb up and you open it.
Hey, Sam!
Hey, what?
I found another sample of Sasquatch fur and mange in the booth, while I spent my young life waiting, just sitting there, in that horrible booth, waiting.
Jeez, Max, get over it.
Okay, here, you carry it.
I'd better. I'm not sure where you'd put it.
That's none of your business, Sam.
So we've got some more items. Yeah, well,
It's a rasp.
literally, we're keeping the golf balls. And
I can't use the...
we've once again moved things around where things really have no reason to move around. It's no surprise that you've almost certainly never seen another game where you can move inventory items around. That's a point-and-click adventure game. It just does not make sense. In fact, with the exception of Resident Evil 4, the ability to move around inventory items has almost never been useful. See, we're almost down to 2 more bars, which does go to show we are, I think, a lot further than it seems, even though in all actuality it feels like we are just nowhere in the story at all, because I don't think there is much of a story. Alright, well, we're 15 minutes over an hour. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.